Nikki, welcome to the podcast. So great to see you.
Hey, Gina. Great to see you too. Thanks for having me.
So, as always, we dive in here and we're going to talk about a lot of things today, but let's talk about marketing and sales trends when it comes to courses. What are you seeing today that's working?
What am I seeing today that's working? I think the things that I'm seeing today are the things that are always working. I think that authenticity is working. There's so much. What I always say is it's really easy to look successful on Instagram, right? The pretty pictures, here I am at the beach, here I am. And yes, that we do love seeing those pictures, but what we really want to see is what people are actually experiencing, when people are actually frustrated, when people are actually celebrating. I think more than anything else, it's kind of funny, but what cuts through all of the stuff out there is people just being truly authentic and using their own personality in their ads. And I think that that's something that everybody really needs to lean into, is what makes them different as not just a company, but as a person from all of their competitors.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So I was just on your Instagram this morning and you have this funny reel up where you're like, hey, I'm Nikki. You know, if you know me already, maybe skip this, especially if you're a college boyfriend, right? Like just that humor. I was like, okay, I gotta have this lady on. She's so funny. What's the balance of, because you look beautiful, right? You still look polished, but there was a warmth to you, right? That I was like, oh, I could instantly have a glass of wine with this woman. Where's the line between polished and being authentic?
You know, I honestly think that that's a personal choice for everyone, because for some people, their vibe might not be polished. And I think we all know too, that you can be super successful and you can wear sweatpants every single day. It really comes down to the quality of what you're actually saying to people. If what you have to say is useful and it's interesting and it's compelling, you know, you can be doing that with your hair in a ponytail, sitting on the back porch, having a glass or a bottle, you know,
whatever,
wine.
float your boat,
Yeah,
right?
you know, it's exactly. Yeah. So
Oh.
I think that really comes down to personal preference. Yeah.
And what about your audience too, and knowing what your audience really wants to see, right? So for some of you out there, like it might not be great to have like that bottle of wine with you, right? So so thinking through what their ideals are and what their values are, right?
Yeah, that is a good point. One of our students, who's also a good friend of mine on one of our brands, her audience is caregivers of people with dementia. So really important course, really. And obviously, maybe not obviously, but we'll say her audience does not want her to be over the top funny or you know, absurd, or you know, they can certainly handle her drinking a glass of wine, because many of them at the end of a very difficult day are having a glass of wine. But I think that's a really great point, that you have to understand who your audience is, but you also have to understand who your audience is to market to them in any capacity.
Right.
What kind of information do they want from you? But what style of where on the spectrum of your personality are they going to want you to be? You know, all of us, I think, can be serious sometimes, and all of us can be silly and goofy and all that kind of thing. And your audience may be open to you in any of those capacities, or your audience may want you in not want you, but maybe more receptive to you in a narrower slice of that range, so that maybe you can be lighter and you can be fun, but you can't go into that maybe silly or absurd part of your personality. So I think that really, it's all about getting to know your audience.
Okay, I love this. I'm going to go down a slight rabbit hole on this because I think you're a good person to ask this. I got asked, this was many years ago, when you're going through something. So you bring up this course about caregivers of dementia, which I worked with somebody too who was putting together a caregiver course. How much do you show of the pain and the struggle before they get through it, before they're on the other side of it, and then there's results, right? So I think there's also this fine line you're walking as well, showing the authenticity of the pain without being a downer every day, right? And like, I don't know, what's your line on that, Nikki?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to empathy, right?
Okay.
Is not necessarily showing the pain, but showing that you empathize with the pain and
That's
that
great.
you understand what they're going through. And there will be some days where you can understand, but maybe you can bring in like, hey, here's a little bit of perspective on this side. And maybe there's some days where you're talking about something that's a little bit more difficult and it might get a little bit darker. So it's balancing it all out, but doing it all with empathy. But at the same time too, and this is kind of the other side of that, is that's talking to your audience, or I should, talking with your audience. But when it comes to the authenticity of sharing what's going on with you, Natalie has some issues with her father that she shares openly. So I'm not speaking out of turn here, that she shares, but she also does not share her entire life, right?
Right.
She might, and she also shares things after they happen. She's not getting on in the
Yes.
middle of it, because our audiences are not our therapists,
That's right. I'm gonna put that in a bumper sticker.
Yes. One of my big pet peeves, or not even pet peeve, I just find it so icky when people go on Instagram and post photos of themselves mid cry or mid, the videos of themselves. I just had a really terrible day. That just strikes me as so gross,
Cringe worthy for
exactly.
me. Yeah.
Who is genuinely crying and genuinely feeling something, right? That brings you to tears and goes, oh, let me grab my camera and get a photo of this. Oh, that I don't think is, I wish that trend would just die. If you are feeling something bad, feel something bad. That's okay. We're human. Don't put it on Instagram.
Don't put it on camera. I 100% agree. And there might be some people who are like kind of wincing right now listening to us, but I think if you do that, you're after a different outcome. Your outcome is to not really market, right? Or I don't mean to make it sound slimy, but I think you know what I mean. Like they're using social media as their therapist, right?
Yes.
And then that's, if you are a marketer though, you're not doing that. Okay. So I think there's a way to be authentic with our brands and represent who we are. And like I share stories on my podcast all the time. But if I agree with you, if I'm going through something and I'm processing something, I likely won't share it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it all comes down to, what is your audience going to get out of it?
Yeah.
What are they going to get out of you sitting there crying? Right? Okay. Maybe there's she has tough days too. Okay. Yeah, but you kind of know that. But if you talk to them after the fact, you get on yesterday and say, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I had a tough day for XYZ reasons, but here's how I pulled myself out of it. And if you're having a tough day too, here's how you can do the same. That's useful to our audiences, not I'm going to show myself mid breakdown.
I 100% agree, because at the end of the day, what benefits them, right? What's in it for them? And if I'm just emoting, right, and I'm down in the dumps about something, then there's nothing in it for them. But if I've gotten through it, or I figured out the solution, or I'm on my way to the solution, then you can learn from it. So I love this. I know we got on a tangent here, but I think that's important to recognize. Like get the result, or at least figure out the solution on the other side. And you mentioned empathy, spoken like a true copywriter, right? And is that some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing in terms of when we copyright for our courses? We don't have a sense of that empathy or connection to our person. Like, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that business owners make, especially course creators, group program creators, even one-to-one service providers, is that they assume they know what their target audience wants. And I think this happens a lot because a lot of us created courses based on what we needed, or things that I went through this and I learned it, and now I put together a course so that you don't have to struggle the same way that I did, which is beautiful and wonderful and fantastic. However, we're making a big assumption that our audience is thinking and talking the same way that we did when we were going through it. We think, oh, well, I know it. I am my target audience. No. You're not your target audience anymore. You used to be. The way that you operate now, thank you. The way that you operate now, and the way that you think now, and the way that you speak now is post-transformation. So don't make the assumption that you know exactly what they're thinking, needing, wanting, all of that before the transformation, because also things change. Society changes, the way we talk about things change, the words that become popular change. And if you're still operating from this idea of what you thought it was from before your transformation, you may not be connecting with your target audience at all. So you really need to, which whenever I say this, business owners are always like, oh, isn't there any way around this?
Is there an easy way to
Yeah.
do that,
Oh,
Nikki?
what if I didn't? You
Can
have
I
to
skip it? No.
exactly. Like, what if I
Yeah.
just didn't? You have to get on the phone or on Zoom, with your audience, the people who have purchased, yes, the people who opted not to purchase, and the people who have not yet had an opportunity to purchase. You need to get it. You can't send a survey. I know that everyone's like,
oh, I know. Yeah.
oh, I'll just send a survey. Nope, you can't send a survey because you're not going to get the real answers. And you're also going to get only the small subset of your group that's like, oh yeah, sure, I've got 2 minutes to do a survey. You have to get on the phone with people because you have to hear the words that they're using, because when you use those words in your marketing, then that shows them that you understand them and you care about where they are.
Yeah, that's so great. And my experience, it's easier to get on those who have purchased, obviously, right? To get them on the horn because they love you, they feel the transformation. What's your best way to get on those? Because I do think it's very important to get on those who didn't buy. Tougher to get, usually, right? Do you have any secrets to get those folks on the phone?
You need to bribe them. You need to find something. You need to incentivize them to get on the call.
Yeah, what kind
right?
of bribes have you used?
Exactly. It's, I mean, it could
lovely
be
incentives.
Yes, lovely incentive. Truly, this gets back to what's in it for them, right? If you say, hey, audience, I'd love to get on a call with you for 20 minutes, you're asking for 20 minutes of their time. So what valuable thing are you giving them in return? Some of our students, our course creator students, they will offer coaching calls. They will offer sometimes discounts on programs can work. I don't tend to like that as much because then it's like you still have to pay me in order to get, but sometimes they'll do giveaways of some of their smaller programs. But anything that audience wants, give it to them, because it's and you don't need to talk to tons of people. I usually say between 5 and 10 in each of those groups, because you'll start to hear the patterns, and you'll start to notice when people are saying the same things. But you have to give them something that they want in order for you to get something valuable that you want.
Yeah, I agree with you because they haven't bought from you, right? They didn't want to put the money down for some reason. So I do love this coaching call or a strategy session and really and showing them the value that you can add. And I agree with you about getting on the phone. Like the surveys are good for some things, but for this, just digging down and really knowing why. Maybe the messaging didn't speak to them. They didn't think it was for them. They didn't think it was going to work for them, right? Like, so how often does that ring true for you? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you know what? People only give a surface level answer when you when they fill out a survey, or most people only give a surface level. And even when you first start talking to someone, it'll be that surface level. The example I always give is like, if you send out a survey, or maybe within the first couple of minutes, let's say you're a weight loss coach, right? Or something like that. And you say, oh, why are you interested in losing weight? Everybody is going to answer something along the lines of like, well, it just seemed like it was really time to focus on my health and focus on me. And like, okay, but it's not a real reason. But as you get to talk to them through this conversation, say, okay, absolutely. And is there any particular reason why now? And why is that important? I understand. Okay, great. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Can you give me, the more that you talk to someone and the more that they get comfortable with you, and the more that the two of you just develop that rapport, you're going to get down to the real answer, which is usually going to be several layers down. You're going to get down to the real answer, and you're going to get an answer that's something along the lines of, well, my high school reunion is in 3 months, and my ex-husband is bringing his new wife, and if she looks better than I do, I will lose my mind.
Not okay.
Yes. And that's the real answer. That's the kind of thing that people actually take out their credit cards for. People don't take out their credit cards to buy because, I just, I've been thinking it's probably time to get healthy. No, you get your
Not
credit
true.
card because you want to look better than your ex-husband's new wife in 3 months at the high school reunion. That is what you're willing to pay for. And you
That
only
is so
get
good.
that answer once
Yeah.
you talk with people. Yeah.
That is so good. I call that the OS moment, where people realize, and I don't think we think about this enough, Nikki, too, because people are like, oh, I get people, like, we're talking about weight loss, right? I get the overachievers who want to lose that last 17 pounds and it's kind of nagging and they don't really have time. And it's like, okay, but what's the moment? Right.
Yes.
And like that reunion is such a great moment,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's fleeting, but
Yeah.
it's still, I don't care. They'll buy my 197 starter course for weight
Mhm.
loss, right? Because of
Yeah.
that. And we need that moment.
Yeah.
That's what fuels our marketing, right? That's what
Exactly.
fuels what people really, why they really want to buy.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
the interviews,
Exactly.
you're saying. Okay, so
Exactly.
it's the interviews.
Yeah. Yeah. And then building your whole marketing system based on what they want. You really build it based on two things. You build it based on what they say they want, which is,
Mhm.
oh, I want to lose weight and I want to lose, and obviously weight loss is just one example of the hundreds of thousands of
Yes,
things that
so
we course
many
creators sell, but
desires
it's
and pain
such
points.
an
Yep.
easy one to go to. But we sell them on, yes, on what they say they want, which is, oh, I want weight loss, but without calorie counting and without, okay, yes. But you also need to be selling them on that deeper transformation, that
Mhm.
feeling of maybe not these exact words, but looking better than your ex's new wife. But that feeling of excitement, being able to fit into the jeans that you saved from 10 years ago. And you're like, I love these jeans. I can't let them go. The feeling of when you finally can get back into them, the feeling of walking into a restaurant or a bar, even if it's just to meet up with your friends and feeling so good. That experience is also that transformation. We sell them on the surface level, certainly, but we also have to sell them on the transformation, because that transformation is the emotion, and that's what really gets people to purchase.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Can you give me I love this line. Okay, can you give me another example of this, like where maybe
Sure.
a surface level, give me another student or something, the surface level was this, but then you dug and the deeper transformation was this?
Exactly. Let me think just a little bit, because I don't want to give away any of our. It's
Yeah, no, that's
I
okay.
don't speak out of turn for any of our students, because
While
the.
you're thinking, I have a friend, Megan. She's a
Mhm.
copywriter. I've had her on the podcast before. She's a genius, and she's always saying, "So that you can."
Yes,
Right. So, like, that's
absolutely.
how to dig
Mhm.
deeper into the transformation, and because you go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a great way to get to the benefit, right?
Yeah.
You do this so that you can, but as you're getting to that deeper transformation, you have to keep asking. So especially if you're talking with well, we'll come back to an example in a second, but if you're
Yeah.
talking with your target audience
Mhm.
on a call, because we're all going to do calls now, right, everybody?
Yes.
Yes, we're
Get on the
committed to
call.
doing calls, Nikki and Gina. Great.
Woo! Let's do it. Okay.
Um, you get the so that, and the so that is that first level of benefit, but you still need to ask, okay, great, and why is that important to you? Okay, interesting, thank you, and can you give me more details? Okay, and why is that interesting for you? It's going to take a couple of levels down to get that top one is the benefit, right? It will take a couple levels down to get to that deep benefit, to get to that emotional transformation. But actually, so here's an example. Our company has has three different brands, and the first brand that I built a very long time ago now, but is a course to become professional copywriters. My background is in copywriting. I've been a copywriter for more than 20 years, so that was the first one that we built, and we passed the 10,000 students mark earlier this year, which is
Congratulations.
amazing.
Very exciting.
But it's at a high level. It's, oh, here's you can learn a career in copywriting and make good money as a writer, and quite frankly, very good money. We have plenty of students that are earning 6 figures,
Great.
which is like, that's great. Oh, I can make a great living and then have freedom as a copywriter, which is wonderful. But as you dig down, some of the emotions that we discover is that a lot of our students are people who've always loved to write, but
Mm.
also were always told that you can't make any money as a
Can't make
writer.
money, can't make a career out of it.
Yes,
Right. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I
And
hear
it has stymied them. It has hurt them. You know, they had this dream as a child. And as soon as the dream was
you.
brought to light, everyone's going, well, that's great, but what are you going to do for your real career? And so giving them this opportunity to use these skills that they love and this passion that they have to not just make money, but have an impact on their clients, and to be able to tell people, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a writer, is a major transformation for them. It is such an exciting experience. And that's kind of the balance of the two, right? The surface level benefit, the copywriting career, you can make an excellent income, and you can, if you want to freelance, you can have a lot of freedom. But then there's this also deeper emotional, guess what? You, the
Identity.
child in you, exactly, that dreamed
Identity.
that you could be a writer. You can be a writer, and you can support your family, maybe even better than you ever have in any other career. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so I think the lesson here is we need to dig. I'm working on a sales page right now. It's so funny. Like I was reading some copy before I hopped on.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, okay, I need to dig. I've skimmed the surface on that deeper transformation, and I need to dig a little bit, and I need to
Mhm.
tell, so it's that, so what, right? So
Mhm.
what? So I
Mhm.
need to dig a little
Exactly.
bit further, and I think we all need to do that in terms of our sales pages or emails. And before you create, like you mentioned, build your marketing system. Do you do
Mhm.
like a creative brief before you create, like say you have a campaign or you're going to launch? Like
Yeah.
how do you start?
Yeah,
How do you usually
exactly.
start? Okay.
I think one of the first things that gets people tripped up when they're doing writing for themselves, or even when they're hiring a copywriter, although quite frankly, a good copywriter should help you do this
Oh,
if you hire one.
yes. Yeah.
But a lot of business owners, I think, first of all, a lot of business owners leave their messaging to the end.
To the
They're like,
end.
oh, I don't want to
Oh,
do
what
it,
do I
so I'll
want
do
to
it
say?
last. Exactly, exactly. When it's the most important thing in your business, your messaging is. But I think another thing that the business owners tend to do is they tend to go, oh, I have to, for example, I have to write, and I'm not saying this is what you do, but a lot of
Mhm.
business owners do. Oh, I have to write a sales page. So they go open up a Word doc or a Google Doc and go, okay, now
Oh,
write a sales page.
oh
And
gosh, that's awful.
you
That's
can't, if you
awful.
don't know what you're going to write, if you don't have a strategy for it, then you can't, you're just going to, it's like wandering into the woods or getting in your car and driving. If you don't know that your destination is Los Angeles and you just get in your car and drive, you'll never get there, or you'll
Yeah.
end up someplace you'll end up in Canada, which is great. Good. But if you didn't want to go to
Oh,
Canada, it's
Canada.
not as
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have, before you sit down to write at all, you have to come up with the tenets of what's the purpose of this? What are you trying to get people to do? Who are you talking to? What are the benefits for them of doing what they want, doing what you want them to do? And then breaking, and obviously there's some more pieces to that. But once you have your creative brief, then also going through and creating an outline and saying, okay, I think we want, this is the main benefit. So I think we maybe want to start with that section. And then, okay, well, then I think it'd be good to get into maybe who I am and why that makes it. Plan it all out before you sit down. And this is not just for big projects like sales pages or landing pages or things like that. But even when you are writing an email, so many of
Yeah.
us like, oh, I have to send out an email. I haven't sent out an email in a couple of weeks. Hey guys, this crazy thing happened yesterday, whatever. Plan it through. What is the purpose of this? Why are you sending out this email? What do you want people to do? And what do you want them to think of you or your offer or whatever after they've read the email?
Yeah, that's so
Strategy.
great. I was
Mhm.
just talking to a client yesterday, and they have a newsletter, and they're like, we start, because I said, oh, you have a hook right here. Like because they're going through a course right now. I'm like, there's this great story this woman shared today, which was a lesson in why the small things and da da da. Here's the
Yeah.
lesson, right? Here's the hook. Here's the lesson. They're like, that's great. We've been like picking topics and then and then getting stuck, right? And I was like, no, think about like the hook and the lesson that goes with it, the
Yeah.
benefit,
Mhm.
and then write to that. And then it'll
Mhm.
just flow
Yes,
versus like, I need
exactly.
to write about this.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's another mistake that we make, is that business owners tend to write about what we want to write about
Mm-hmm.
instead of what our audience wants or needs to hear. and what our audience is going to be interested in. There's so many, speaking of hooks, and I'm sure you see the same thing, so many subject lines that come through that you're like, I see. You just had no idea what to write here. So you wrote anything. Like I had this thought yesterday, ellipses. I don't care. You have to, if you're creating a hook, it has to be, yes, you can have it driven by curiosity, but you can't take out all the details because then nobody cares at all. And it also has to be something that is genuinely interesting to your target audience. If you write out a bunch of different subject lines because they're so important, take a step away and then come back. And if none of them would make you go, oh, tell me more, truly, genuinely, not just like, well, I don't want to write anymore. So like maybe that one would do it. No, it has to be something that if you got it, or if you know your target audience, if they got it, they'd be like, oh, I need to hear more. Then it's not good enough, because a subject line, a hook carries everything. If someone is not interested in your subject line, it doesn't matter what's in the rest of the email because they're going to delete it. And same thing with the hook. If you are writing a post for social media and your first line, what should be your hook is not actually a hook. It's not actually catching their attention. The rest of it doesn't matter because nobody's going to read it.
Nobody's going to read it. I love it. Yeah. Nikki, we could talk all day about copywriting and magic marketing systems. Tell us where we can learn more about you and just follow up with you and your content.
Yeah, absolutely. So for course creators, group program creators, even one-to-one people, providers, if you are interested in learning about how to sell your program on autopilot, launching can be great, but launching can also be incredibly stressful and unpredictable. So several years ago, I created a program to sell that copywriting program on autopilot. It's made us a multi-7-figure per year business, thankfully. And I now teach that system to other course creators and program creators. So if you're interested in kind of learning how that works, you can go to circuitselling.com. And you can follow us on Circuit Sales System on Instagram and Facebook if you're still there. And if you want to as well, you can follow me at nikki.krozik. Gina, you're going to have to put that one in the show notes. Nobody's going to, that's a rough one.
In the show notes. I know, I thought Onasivia was a tough one. But
Krozik, it's a rough one. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks so much, Nikki, for bringing the humor and bringing some brilliant ideas today.
Oh, thank you, Gina. This was so much fun.